to another LEGO Hermitcraft video. Today I have a very special set for you guys. This set is commemorating something that happened today if you're watching the video the day it came out. So let's actually jump right into it and take a look at the set. And the set is 1000 episodes of Exuma. And obviously this is commemorating Xuma's 1000th Hermitcraft episode, which aired earlier today. So for that I decided to create 7 figures there with builds for each one of them and put them on stands. These are kind of like the Star Wars ones, which I believe were in single poly bags from the time about like 2016 till about like 2018. So they were very short-lived, but I think I have almost all of them, and they're actually quite cool stands, so I decided to do something like that for Minecraft. So you can see here, there are the 7 figures in a row, and behind each one of them they have a representation of a base or something that kind of goes with that figure. And you can see the names of all of them along the bottom on what are meant to look like kind of signs for Minecraft. So it's got the Minecraft font on like a tan 1x4 tile for each one of them. I think that turned out pretty good. So now let's take a look at each of the figures separately, starting off with Xisuma. This figure first came out in my first Hermitcraft CMF series, so it's just reused from there. And you can see him standing in front of a build, which we'll take a look at all the builds later, so you can kind of see the one behind him there. You might be able to guess at what it is. But now moving on to the next one, we have Evil Exuma. So he was also in the first minifigure series as one of the few non-hermit characters in it. And he's still a figure that I'm actually quite proud of. I like how the eyes look. It's very similar to his normal appearance, but also similar to the normal Exuma figure, so they look really good standing next to each other. And other than that, there's not really much to talk about for him, so let's move on to the next one. Next one's Turtle Suma, another figure I've already made, which he appeared in, I believe, the second series of my LEGO Hermitcraft CMF. So he's got the head, which if you want to watch that video, I do show the side of the head there. I just omitted it here because I didn't feel like it was that necessary. All it had was the eye on it. But he actually has one slight difference to the normal Exuma figure on his torso. The arms are a slightly different color when they're dual molded. It's in, I believe, like a tannish sand color instead of the more nougat skin tone, which Exuma uses. So now on to the next figure. We have Strider Zuma, which was another one from one of my original poly bags. I believe it was actually my first LEGO Hermitcraft set. The poly bag with this Strider Zuma figure and then the dry version of it. So another figure which I think is really cool and wasn't really much to update about it. And he actually used the same torso and legs for Evil Exuma, so I thought that was interesting that there'd be 2 of the exact same torso and legs included in this set if it were to be real. So I just kind of found that interesting. But now moving on to the next one, which is the first exclusive figure I believe. We have Bsuma, who I have made before. Might be in my Series 3 of LEGO Hermitcraft, but stay subscribed to find that out. So you can see for his head, it's just the same print from the bee from, I believe, the bee farm set, except this time on a Minecraft head instead of on a 1x1 tile. So for his torso and legs, it's just a recolor of the normal Xumas in yellow. So overall, it's a pretty cool figure. I kind of wish I could have put the lines on the side of the head, but looks fine from the front. A bit weird with the kind of antennas, I guess, at the top. But I'm actually quite happy with how this one turned out. So let's move on to the next one, which is another exclusive figure. It's 2010 Exuma, and you might think the name for this one's a bit weird, but I actually took it from, I believe, was it episode 650 of Season 5, where Exuma refers to this skin as 2010 Exuma, so I just took it from there. And the torso is actually a bit lighter than the normal Exuma one, and his hands are this time in nougat instead of dark gray, and his legs are not dual molded instead of having printing for the feet only. And then the torso print slightly changed up just a little bit, not very much. But then the head is where it's majorly different. Done an entirely different color with a gray visor instead of a purple one. But there's another cool figure of a very historic Exuma skin. So now let's move on to the final and newest skin in the video. We have Axolotl Exuma. Wasn't sure what to call this, so I call it Axel Zuma. I mean, it kind of works, but we need to find out what he refers to it as. So this was first shown off in his 1000th episode, and you can see it there. And for the skin, all I did was change the head and the hands, because the skin is actually literally exactly the same. It's very weird. I kind of expected it to be a bit more different, maybe like entirely pink. But it's kind of a bit of a boring skin. All that's changed are the hands and the head. The torso, legs, other than the hands, obviously, are just reused from the normal Exuma. But for the head, I just put 4 pixels on it. It's literally just 2 for the eyes and then 2 for the nose. So, pretty boring figure, but still kind of cool. Now, let's move on to the builds. From left to right, for Axolotl Xisuma, we have kind of like a coral reef with some kelp and then a few coral blocks. Then for Strider Suma, we have a nether biome with some of the bedrock at the top and some lava coming down. For Strider Suma, I was originally going to do his nether tower, which he has hanging from the ceiling somewhere in the nether of Hermitcraft Season 7. But I wasn't able to create that easily in such a small area, so I gave up on it and just went with the normal nether landscape. Then for Turtle Suma, I went with the Statue of Hermity from Season 6, which you can see in one hand it has the torch, and in the other hand it has the kind of like book thing that it holds. And for the head, that's meant to be a villager head. You can't really see it from here, but that is a villager head on top of it without any printing, done in like light blue. Then for Exuma, I just did an Exuma head as close to actually making it look accurate as I could. I'm actually pretty happy with how that turned out. Then for Evil Exuma, this one you might not recognize. It's actually Cleo's base from Season 4, which you might be wondering why that's in an Exuma kind of like tribute thing. And that's because when Evil Exuma summoned the Withermen in episode 500, he summoned them in Cleo's base, and they left a black trail, which you can see coming out of the entrance there. So I tried to represent that there, and the eye, Cleo had an eye on her base, which kind of like moved left and right. Preferably that would be a new print, but I just reused an existing one for that. So that was kind of cool, a bit of a niche reference kind of, but still cool nonetheless. Now moving on to Bsuma, you might recognize this one. This is Season 7 based. I didn't base it off any of the particular towers, it just kind of looks like any one of them. It's got the yellow and black warning stripe at the front, and then some honey blocks up at the top there. So, kind of cool, not really based off any of them in particular. Then for his 2010 Exuma, I went with his Season 2 base, which I know he was wearing his newer skin during that time, but I thought this was one of my favorite older Exuma bases, and it's his Desert Temple in the Wastelands, where it's like all stone surrounding the Desert Temple. You can see he changed the like orange color in the Desert Temple to light blue, so I represented that there. And then above it he has like these weird things hanging. I don't remember exactly what they are, but they're like made out of blue glass, so I represented them there by just having a bit of a weird X-shaped piece hovering above it. So now let's take a look at how these connect. As you can see here, they have Technic pins on either side, just like a Star Wars ones. And they actually have one behind them, so you could have them facing back to back. I don't know how that would look, but I thought I'd include it nonetheless. But now, one thing I haven't mentioned about this set is the price, and that's because I kind of imagine this set as a gift with purchase to another set, which I'm going to be revealing soon. And it's going to be a big 18 plus set. So here you can see this is the box art I've created for it. And you can see it's over 4,000 pieces. And I'm probably going to be finishing it up next week in a video, so stay tuned for that. It's at 21276, and if you looked at my list of all my sets, that's by far the biggest one on the list. But I expect it to be made like 100. This is somewhere like over like $200-ish. It's pretty big. But really, that's all I've got time for today. So, thank you guys very much for watching. Good